So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to hand over to Kim and Stephanie for our session this afternoon. Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you so much, Kate, and welcome. Good morning to those of you over here in the States, and good afternoon. I'm very excited about our big European contingent today. It's making me feel a bit European, actually, I think, as we go through this. But we're excited about this topic. I think this is a very fun topic, and it's really about you personally. So I hope that's why you've joined, as we really think about how you transform the way you talk to people about who you are, about what you do, and about the value that you bring to your customers and to your audience and to the people you are trying to sell to. Many of you are salespeople, others of you are on the operations side. All of us have a customer, all of us have an audience, and all of us need to consider the presence that we are bringing to that audience, that we are bringing to you. And so a big part of today, as I mentioned, is about you, but blending you then with your company brand. Obviously, all of us work for an organization. None of us are on our own with our own company as entrepreneurs, but really figuring out how we blend our brand with that company brand that we're representing as well. But again, just redefining our own presence as it relates to how we interact with our clients. So our objective today is just to first identify or define what is personal branding. What does it mean? It's obviously a big push these days, but it's been around since really the turn of the millennial. So early or late 1990s is when it first started to emerge. But now, of course, with social media and other things, it's become a really big hot topic. So we're going to define what it is, go into some of the elements that go into creating your personal brand. So what do I need to consider when I think about defining what my personal brand is? And then we're going to spend some time doing it. So don't be afraid. As I mentioned, we're going to do one little small breakout just to get you into a couple smaller groups where you can talk together about what you bring to the table and who your audience is, and be able to share that a little bit with one another in a smaller setting that will allow us to start putting those steps together for you to walk out of here or to step off this Zoom with some idea of what that looks like. And maybe some of you have already thought about that. Maybe some of you have already considered how you define your personal brand right now. But we're going to look at what it takes to do that. And I don't think we can talk about personal branding right now without considering our online presence. So we're going to take a look at social media, because that's how most of us at this point are going to express our personal brand to the public, right? And where our persona is most defined. So we'll take some time to look at how we create a really strong online presence and what that means for our personal brand. So let's first just start out by talking about or defining what is personal branding. And so here's a definition I found: it's the conscious and intentional effort to create an influenced public perception of an individual. So we are going to talk today about intentionally and consciously creating a perception. Obviously, we all have a brand, whether we know it or not, or whether we've been deliberate about it or not. So we're going to look at how to intentionally and consciously create this persona that other people see. And the biggest part of that is by able to positioning ourselves as an authority in our industry, elevating our credibility, and differentiating ourselves from the competition. So ultimately, that's what our personal brand should do, is be able to show what we are an expert at. What do we do better than anybody else? What are we credible at doing, and how do we differentiate ourselves from the other people that are in our industry? So whether we're a sales manager, whether we're an events planner, whether we're a CEO, whether director of operations, what are we bringing to the table when it comes to how we are influencing our customers? And ultimately, then, it is about influence. So how is that brand then influencing our circle of influence? How is it increasing our circle of influence? How is it ultimately advancing our career and giving us this bigger impact? And I mentioned the term started way back in the late 1990s. In fact, Tom Peters, very famous management expert and service kind of guru, first referenced the whole idea of personal branding way back in 1997. And in 1999, there was a book called Be Your Own Brand that was published from some very famous marketers that just talked about, again, how your brand is the perception or emotion that somebody else maintains about you. So in the end, we all have a brand, because whatever people's perception is of us, just like our company brand, just like our hotels, our conference centers, our businesses, people have perceptions of the brand. Now, whether that aligns with what we think we're putting out there or not is really the crux of whether or not we have a clearly defined personal brand. And so others have that perception of us, but it doesn't mean that we can't be intentional about how they see us, what we put out there, and what we want them to see. So our personal brand is really about how we promote ourselves. It is that unique combination of skills, of experience, of the personality. What do we want the world to see about us? So it's about finding that uniqueness and showing that uniqueness, that specialty, those selling points that we have, and then allowing ourselves to be known for it. I think that's the big part where our personal brand becomes really defined. Is we all have a unique combination of skills, but then let's let ourselves be known for it, right? Let's make sure that other people know that we have those unique skills and experiences, and ultimately that we can somehow monetize that, right? Whether we're building a personal company that we're trying to grow, or if we're trying to generate revenue for the company or the brand that we work for, ultimately we want to be able to monetize what that brand is bringing to us. So it is essentially our reputation. In fact, if you can substitute reputation for brand and that is all in alignment, then those are the things that people are going to know us for. But I think what's important is that we think about how we're telling a story. And we want to be able to connect with people on a very personal level. And that's what our brand does, is it connects with people to shows kind of our unspoken words, our values, our attributes, all of those things. But we wanted to tell a story because that's how other people are going to want to connect with us. And when our customers feel connected to us, it builds that trust, it builds that reputation, it builds that credibility, and that's what's going to help us do that. So we all, right, have competence. We all have to be or are noticeably good at something. So we really want to just differentiate ourselves in a really compelling way, right? And this is done by positioning ourselves in the industry as an authority and how we differentiate ourselves from the competition, about everything that we want to create as far as that persona that we put out in the world. Now, we all know of some very famous personas in the world. So if we take a look at some of these individuals that have very recognizable personal brands, and I'll just ask you to put in the chat box right now, right? Like, how would you describe Oprah Winfrey and her brand? Whether you like Oprah or not, whether you would identify with her brand or not, just put in the chat box, how would you describe Oprah's personal brand? Or let's go to Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk, we have a perception of Elon Musk, whether you like it or not, whether you're drawn to him or not, whether you think he's the best in the world. What is your description of him? So just drop in the chat box either Oprah in your description or Elon Musk in your description. Let's just hear from some of you as to what you're seeing about these individuals. So a few have said, just jumped right on with Oprah. Gail says, the voice of the people, right? I would think that Oprah would like that. I think Oprah would like that she represents the voice of the people. So for that, I would think what she's thinking is very on brand, right? That she's powerful, Kelsey says, that she's generous. Kristen says powerful as well. Lisa adds very wise. I would think that Oprah would be glad that we said voice of the people, powerful, generous, wise, spiritual. I think those are the all words that Oprah would probably use to describe herself, which means to me, Oprah's doing a pretty good job of putting her personal brand out there, of defining for others who she is, what she does, what she contributes, and what she can do. So Frances jumps in here with Elon, an innovator. And then Oprah, she says, inspiring, represents family and goodness. Kristen chimes in with Elon about being a trailblazer, right? And I would think Elon would be very happy with our descriptions of him as an innovator, as a trailblazer. So whoever we are, right? If we think of Oprah as kind-hearted and generous and representing goodness, if we think of Elon as being this, technology innovator and trailblazer, right? Or we go through the list, Tony Robbins or Ellen as the jokester, or Bill Nye the science guy, right? Or Shaun White, way beyond Shaun Knight's representative, the brands that he represents for snowboards. Shaun White has a perception, he has a persona in the world that people identify with. And you're either drawn to that because you like what he's putting out there, or you're like, I could care less about Shaun White, right? And so that's what personal brands do. And personal brands are going to really attract the kind of people that are going to resonate and connect and want to identify with you. And that's what creates that personal connection. Because think about this, beyond their brand, so beyond Oprah's real brand, right, the Oprah Winfrey Network, or beyond Elon's brand of Tesla, right, they have a presence, they have a persona. And we might even feel like we kind of know these people on a personal level, right, because we understand what they stand for and we kind of align ourselves with that. So, but it's not just celebrities, it's not just famous business people that can have a personal brand. We all can have a personal brand. And so it's important for us to consider what we're putting out there and what is important. And so the why do we want to do that? Well, because it establishes us as an expert, right, in a certain space. If we don't know what we're good at and we can't communicate that or differentiate that, how are our customers ever going to find us? How are they ever going to trust us as the expert if we're not able to articulate to others what we can do? So our ability to do that, our ability to say, this is who we are and what we do and what we bring to the table, is going to improve our chances of getting new business. The more our customers know about us, the more likely they're going to purchase from us. And that's all going to build stronger relationships, generate more repeat business, because it's building that trust, that commitment, and that community around who you are. So there's many benefits to that, of course, for networking, job searching, overall career development. You know, when people search you online, whether they're looking to hire you for something or whether they want to partner with you, they want to understand who they are. They want to connect with who that is. And so if we get to our online presence, as we get to the latter part of our session today, it's important that our personal brand comes through in that online presence so people see us as valuable. If they go to your LinkedIn profile or they follow you on Instagram and there's like nothing there that's valuable for them, nothing for them to connect to, nothing for them to see the value that you're putting out there, then they're less likely to reach out to you. They're less likely to want to connect and do business with you. So our ability to articulate our personal brand is going to open up doors for us for future jobs with interviews, for promotions, but just for our own relationships and success with our own clients. And I think what's important is when you think about the value that you're bringing and becoming indispensable to your own brand, right? So when we think about the brands that we work for, the conference centers we work for, the hotels that we work for, the business that we work for, right? They want people on their team. They want a staff that's able to articulate and to be able to act as a brand advocate. And they're going to choose people and want to work with people that have that strong online presence, that have a strong network of people that follow them because of the brand that they are generating. So there's many, many reasons why it's important for us as sellers, as CEOs, as marketers, as event planners, whatever it is, that we are able to articulate what that looks like. And then we go to Jeff. Jeff says, you know, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. True and true enough, right? As I said already, we all have a brand, right? Whether we have this huge digital footprint out there, whether it's just local or whether it's global, everyone has a brand because whatever people think of you is your brand. So is your brand saying what you want it to say? Are you intentionally creating a message that is worth listening to, that people want to reach out to? In the past, only the people that we worked closest to us, right, knew what our personal brand was, knew if we were good or not, knew if we did a good job, knew if we didn't. Now with social media, now with how we can put things out there, everyone, right, can know if we're great and everybody can know if we're not so great. So we want to make sure that our brand is saying something good about ourselves. So we're going to look at some specific guidelines that help us to create a strong personal brand. We're going to look at how to be specific, how to make it personal, how it should tell a story, how to be consistent so that we're living our brand, and ultimately it's creating a very positive impact because we're creating a positive impact on the world. Now, there's no hard and set rules, but these are some guidelines that are going to help us really think about how we develop our own personal brand. So we want to start first by being very specific, right? You want to carve a niche that is very specific to what you can do. Don't try to be everything to everyone, right? If you say everyone is your audience, well, then no one is your audience, because we want to make sure that we really understand what is the specific special thing that we bring to the market. What is a specific special thing that we bring to our customers? You probably do a lot of things really, really well, but you're not an expert in every one of those things. So pick that specific thing that you feel like you can do 90% better than anyone in the world, right? What are you the go-to on? What are you the authority on? Whether it's how you plan events, whether it's how you sell, whether it's how you're able to connect what you have to what your customers want, whether it's how you listen to your customers and bring their dreams to life. You need to be an expert at something. If you're not, somebody else is going to be. So we want to tap into the audience that is looking for what we can do for them. And then make sure that that consistent message is out there, because that's what makes us memorable. So focusing on our audience's pain points and what we can do for them is a great way to understand what your niche is and how you can define to the world what you can do specifically. So an easy way is just to answer the questions: what do I stand for? What do I want to be known for? What are my priorities? What is important to me? Asking these questions is going to help us really identify what is that 90% that we do better than anyone else in the world that we really want to be known for. Then we want to make it personal, right? The first step in building your personal brand is finding your niche, which is all about your own skills and the potential market value that you have. The second step is, what do you personally bring to the table, right? Let's not create the confusion between the brand you work for and what you personally stand for, right? Your personal brand is yours and yours alone. So we're not going to talk about today the brand of Dolce or the brand of Sinclair or the brand of Washington Duke Inn and Golf Club. We're talking about your personal brand. What do you bring to that? Now, certainly the brand you work for does have some influence on what you do and what you bring to the table, and you can draw on some of that brand equity, right, from the people that you work for and make it personally yours as well. And hopefully, of course, the brand that you work for and your own brand do coexist together, right? That you're complementing one another, that you're able to tell a story about what you can do for your clients and customers through the story of what your property and your hotel or your conference center can do for others as well. So it's important that when you're working for somebody else and not have your own company like Elon or Oprah or Bill Nye the Science Guy or now Sean Burton, right? That we have our own personal brand that we're marketing on websites and somewhere else. When we are working for an organization, we want to make sure that that coexists and is supportive of the brand that we're working for. Our brand must also tell a story, right? You don't want to just keep sharing what you know about things, but how to make it personal. Those personal expertise, those experiences that you have are going to tell a story that people are going to be able to connect to. So your personal brand story, your personal brand message should show people that you get it, right? That you get them, that you have personal experiences that align with their personal experiences, that you're not trying to be all things to all people, but that you have a very specific niche, you have a very specific audience, and you have very specific something that you can do that's going to help them make their lives better, right? Whether it's meeting planners, whether it's organizations, whether it's CEOs, whether it's brides, whoever it is, you have something that can make their life better. And the way you tell that story should motivate your audience of how to step into that experience, how to step into the experience that they can have having a wedding at your property, how to step into the experience of what they can do when they have a meeting or event at your conference center, right? What can you do personally for them that's going to make that great? That story that we're telling through our brand message should make it feel like if they don't do it, they're missing out, right? If I don't sign up with you, if I don't work with you, then I am missing something tremendously. We've got to be able to tell that story to our clients in a very compelling way, because that's what makes us human, right? That's what connects people to us. And so we talk a lot about storytelling, specifically in sales. Storytelling is so important in being able to convey what we can do for people, mostly because telling stories makes things very memorable. Storytelling activates 7 regions of the brain, where telling data and facts is only activating 2. So why storytelling is important and why we should be able to articulate our story to others through examples and through experiences and through what we've done and what we've overcome or how we've moved through uncertainty or tackled risk is because it creates emotion, right? All those other areas of the brain are being activated, and those emotions create the memory, right? Most of our big memories are attached to some sort of emotion. And so that's going to help people retain and remember what we've shared with them 65 to 70% more than if we just tell facts about our property, about what we can do, about square footages and meeting space and all those things. But using stories and sharing our personal brand helps us to grab attention, create emotion, show our unique personality, show our property's unique personality. And we do so by sharing what we've done for others, right? Sharing past experiences, building that credibility, really setting our clients' hearts afire, right? For them to dream and ultimately to buy. So we want to make sure that we are able to find our niche, that we're able to make it personal, that we tell a story, but that has to be consistent, right? We have to live our brand consistently. This is kind of a lifelong project. Building your personal brand is going to evolve, it's going to change, but it's going to help you be known in your field and might be the difference between who was she versus, gosh, thanks for being here. Thanks for what you contributed. Thanks for what you brought to the situation, to the scene, to life, right? So it's not just about jobs and our functions, but our ideals and our values and how we gave back. And so that's how we can be consistent in how we live our brand and end up really leaving a strong legacy and creating a positive impact on our clients and our customers that want to deal with us. So those are essentially the main components of what we're going to do, but we're going to spend some time actually digging in and trying to do that right now. So here's the participation part. So don't drop off. I hope I've intrigued you enough to stay on, to say I want to dig into this just a little bit. We're going to have some time to do some personal reflection on what your unique position is. First, that's the first step. Secondly, defining who our audience is. And then third, how do I inject my personality into that, right? So most of us, again, are working for another company. We have that brand in the marketplace, but we must be able to articulate to our customers who we are again, what we can do for them. So let's be intentional. Let's redefine your presence. Let's really start helping you create that story that people are going to really want to talk to you. So that first step, as we went through all those guidelines, was to identify your unique value proposition. So what are you an expert in? What value do you offer, right? Start first by listing all your attributes, your skills, your qualities of what makes you great at what you do. And maybe the easiest way to think about this is, what are some key words that you would want people to find you if they use those keywords in a search online, right? We can't create search demand, we can only harvest it. And so what are we going to do to make sure that as we create this online presence, that we're putting those key things out there, that as customers are searching for people like us and are looking for services like us, what are some of those key words they're going to do? Ultimately, we're going to have you choose the top 3, but right now we're just going to have you start a brainstorming. What are those unique attributes, qualities and skills, things that you do better than anyone else? And remember to position that in terms of, your audience and who that looks like. The goal is that we want to find things that are going to make us far better than the competition. So we're just going to give you like 2 to 3 minutes right now, because I want you to start, because I don't want you just to listen today. I want you to start working. And so you'll obviously have to keep working on this after our hours together today. But right now, just take 2 minutes and start brainstorming those attributes. What are you an expert in? What would be those words that you would use to describe the value that you offer to others, to your clients, to your audience, so to speak, to your customers? What are those qualities that make you great at what you do? So I'm going to stop talking, give you like another minute or two to just brainstorm what those words would be. All right, I see some of you are very diligently working, which I'm very excited to see. So who would like to share just a couple words that they came up with that they think describes them? Don't be shy. Who'd like to just share a couple words they came up with? No more? Would you be more willing to put it in the chat?
Yeah.
A couple of words in the chat. All right, Francis, I saw you working really hard there on your paper. What were just a couple words that you use to describe yourself and the value that you bring?
I said creative. When you're an event planner, it's kind of a good go-to when it comes to planning events. But I also said emotionally available, which is really weird for some people, but I see it as when you're emotionally available, you're able to handle the high stress situations with ease, also able to handle those moments where a client may need you to be there emotionally and mentally where they're not because they're in 7 different places, as well as casual. I don't want it to feel like it's a chore to have to talk to me about an event or planning an event. I want to make it as easy as possible for that client to feel like they're valued as well. So those are a couple of them that I tested out with.
I love those. And what I love about those, and you're going to see as we get to the third chart here, is that you can really get a sense of Francis's personality, right? And that emotionally available part may not resonate with everyone, but it's going to resonate with a lot of people that is really important to them, right? So that is going to connect her with a very specific audience that is going to find that part of what she brings to the table totally valuable. Like I wouldn't want to work with anybody else. And so that's what we want to think about is we're not going to always be able to be everything to everyone. Some people might be turned off by her emotional availability, right? But most people that want to be a part of that are going to connect with that. And so don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to put into this what you know really personally defines you as being great, as being unique, and you're going to attract then that very specific audience that's going to want to connect with that and want to resonate that. So thank you very much, Francis, for being brave and sharing that with us. So step 2 then is defining your audience. So half of your personal branding is about you, half of your personal branding is about your audience, who you serve, right? So who is your target audience? I want you to really think about this. We're going to put you into really small breakouts quick to just share a couple minutes about who that audience is and share some ideas about how that could be. It can't be just anyone, right? As I said earlier, if you are going for everybody, then you're going for nobody, right? So let's be very specific about who is your audience? Whom do you offer your help to? And then what are their pain points? Because sometimes being able to identify their pain points help us define the value that we bring to them. So what are the issues that your clients have? What actions can you take to help solve these issues and what solutions can you offer? So we're going to take just another 3 or 4 minutes. We're going to quickly put you into some breakout groups of just 3 or 4 together. Stephanie's going to do that for us in a moment. Don't be afraid, but we're going to try to group you where you're kind of light groups, some salespeople together and operations people together, but just talk together. Who is your audience, right? Who do you offer your help to? And what are some of their pain points? They're going to help you really define the value that you bring to them. So Stephanie, are we ready with those quick breakouts?
Yes, we are.
All right, this is going to be like 5 minutes. We're not going to spend a lot of time doing this, but it's going to be helpful for you to be able to talk together about who truly that audience is and how do we attract the right audience for what we think that we can offer and we can bring value. So we're going to pop up the rooms. You're going to just, if you've not been through a Zoom group breakup before, it's unlikely in 2 years that you haven't, but just in case, when it pops up, just select join the meeting or join the group, excuse me, and that'll bring you to a separate Zoom room with just those 3 or 4 people. And then in like 4 or 5 minutes, we're just going to automatically bring everybody back. And then we'll just have a quick discussion about your audience. So enjoy your conversations. We'll see you back here in about 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, I just opened the rooms and you should have received an invitation to join.
Welcome back. I love your background, Francis. So nice. Is that really where you are, or is that a virtual background?
Oh, that's just the personal background. I'm in the
Love it.
process of moving things around in my living room, so I'm like, no, we'll do the nice background.
I just need that for
Looks
my
good.
whole house, you know.
It makes a good statement about your personal brand, I think, by the background that you pick.
These are goals for the future for me here. This is the dream.
All right. I think we're all back. So we're not going to ask you to share your different audiences. Hopefully that was a good discussion, even if it was very quick. But let me just ask you, why is it important for us to define the audience? Anyone, just shout it out. Come off mute. Why do we need to define our audience when we're talking about our personal brand?
I think it's important to do so. That way you know how to connect with them and how to reach them better. When you're just going for anybody, you're all over the place, but now you have a defined set of, at least a pathway of how to get to them.
Right, right. And I think when you define that, you're going to be able to define an audience that you can then connect with emotionally. I think that's a very important aspect of a personal brand, is that there's that emotional connection, that people feel like you have something for me. I enjoy this relationship. It's a two-way. It's not just you pushing a bunch of salesy stuff at me, but I'm getting something from that. And when our customers feel that way about us in that way, they are more loyal. I think it does then connect us with them in a different way. So as we continue then, after we define our audience here, then we want to interject our personality into this. And I don't know how many of you know Cindy Novotny. Cindy Novotny is our managing partner. Of course, she's received numerous awards from IACC. She's had quite a presence in this industry for years. And I think particularly over the last 2 years, really helped a lot of us move and push through what we were struggling with this pandemic. But if you follow Cindy on social media, if you know anything about her, you'll know her little tagline is the radical mentor, right? And so when you think about Cindy's personal brand, you get a definite sense of her personality. She's a very positive person, but she also pushes the envelope. And I think that's where the radical mentor part comes in, right? You've seen her Instagram or stories. She's sometimes been in a bathtub. She's been in her pool. She's been, you know, she has a way of kind of getting in your face, but in a very positive way, right? And so that's the personality that she brings to her brand. Now, for some, they're like, too much, don't want it, not going to be associated with. Others, they love it, love it, love it, and can't get enough of it. So don't be afraid to show your personality in your personal brand, right? Don't be afraid to be different, right? Because what you're saying is important, but how you're saying it is equally important. And it's that creativity and that individuality that's going to make you stand out from the crowd. So be brave, be different, right? Sometimes some people's brand is polarizing on purpose. If you think of the people that are kind of edgy, you know, out there pushing the envelope, pushing people in people's face far more even than Cindy, that's part of their brand. And for some people, they love it, can't get enough of it. And others are like, can't stand the person. That's okay. Remember, we're not trying to be everything to everybody. We can have a rated G brand personality, or we can have a very polarizing and edgy personality, but that is our brand. It is who we are. It's going to resonate with some, but not with others. So have fun with your customers and know that the tone can dramatically impact how people are perceiving you. But remember, your tone also is going to dramatically impact how your people perceive your brand that you work for. So since we all don't have our own companies, and we're pushing our own personal brand because we're out there doing public speaking, or we're entrepreneurs, or we're out there trying to get business in a different way than we would for our brand, we do have to keep in mind that we do represent our corporate brand as well, and that we need to be thoughtful about how we're pushing the envelope on that personality to make sure that it is in alignment with that brand, as long as we're associated with that brand as well. But we can bring our personality into things by how we share occasionally our family, what we're doing personally, right? The causes that we care about, the stories that we read that kind of tug at our heartstrings. And we want to be thoughtful and careful about all the no-nos, sex, religion, politics, all those things. But I think there's ways for us to bring our personality and to bring a tone to our brand that is authentically us, that is going to draw certain people to us in a way that they are going to want to work with us. That's
Can
all,
I
of
ask you a
course,
question?
then going. Yes, of course.
Because I think you're getting to it, but of course, you know, personal branding for me, I mean, there is a difference between personal branding, you know, on a professional basis or, you know, more on a social basis. And I think you're getting to it now, but, you know, I have my personal branding on LinkedIn because I want to connect with those meeting planners, but on Instagram, you know, I'm a father and a husband. It's different, right?
Yeah. And I think that's part of not being everything to everyone, but knowing your audience. And so as we get to social media, and we're just kind of a few minutes to kind of talk through this, as we get to social media, yes, different platforms have a different tone, right? And so with our LinkedIn or how we're connecting with audiences in that way might have a different tone than the tone we might be presenting on Instagram or Facebook or other places. But people like Frances in the event planning world, right? Her main platform, her audience is going to be in that Instagram world, in that Facebook world. And so you're going to represent yourself differently. I think what's important, and I'll go back to Cindy as an example. Cindy does not have a separate Instagram and Facebook from her personal or business one, because she wants people to see the whole her. And as long as you keep that professional, you can do that. But I do think the tone, certainly on LinkedIn, is going to be a different tone than you're going to find on Instagram and Facebook. And I think it's okay then for you to think about what is the messaging I'm putting there, might be different messaging than I'm putting somewhere else. But bottom line, right, it's important that we are thoughtful about our having a strong online brand. This is our storefront. So in the absence of having a website or a web page that we're not personally going to have, right? Our brand has that, meaning our corporate brand. But most of us personally don't have our own website. We don't have our own store that we're driving people to. So our presence on social media is our storefront. So it is a must for us to be engaged, to be present, to be active, to be posting, to be keeping up our online persona. And that personal brand online is more important than ever. It is fun, but it is work, right? And if you're diligent about it, you can really make it work for you. The goal is we want to stay in front of our customers to reinforce our brand, our story, what we're bringing to the table through our social media, because our customers are looking us up there. They're going to try to find us there. They want to see how we can help them. So if our brand online is not very deliberately and intentionally showing our customers what we can do for them and how we can solve their problems, then they're probably going to go somewhere else. And we're going to miss out on a lot of leads and a lot of valuable business if we're not able to communicate what we're able to do for people through those social media. So at this day and age, it's impossible to not have some sort of presence on social media, particularly for you in sales, and be successful. So just really quickly, and we'll kind of get through this before we get to the end, but just quickly in the chat, if you wouldn't mind just mentioning what platforms you're using right now in social media and how you're using them, either to promote yourself, promote your property, or to uncover new business. And we'll just get a sense of how people are using social media right now. But I want to walk through some key things about how we nurture our brand and create a strong online presence. The first thing is to think about how we're nurturing our contacts. So if you think about all your contacts, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's your people you're connected to on Instagram or Facebook, right? Whether it's 100, 200, over 500, right? These are people that are in our professional network. Some are friends and family, some are clients, some are people we're trying to get to be clients. The idea is we want to keep connecting, not just promoting. Remember, our personal brand is not just about saying all the time what we can do, what we're good at, but connecting with our audience in a personal way. So we want to personalize everything, personalize our reach out, personalizing our messaging that goes out, personalizing how we're connecting with people and how we're sending the message. I'd like to connect you because of this reason. But then pay attention to what your contacts are putting on their updates, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Instagram, whether it's other places. Quickly comment, and don't just share and like, but actually make a comment. I agree, this sounds fabulous, or this is important. Particularly those people that you want to build those relationships with, that you want to build more exposure to, right? So it's not just about trolling through every day and reading what everybody else is doing, but connecting and making a conversation of it. And when you comment on what other your connections are saying, when they have a status update and you make a comment, even if you like it or share it, that keeps you top of mind. So I guarantee the people that you remember most in your connections and your circles are the ones that are posting all the time. Have you ever looked back at your connections and gone, I don't even remember how I know this person. Like, I don't remember how we were connected. Probably because that person never posts. But the people that are posting all the time are the ones that you're remembering even from years ago, even if you still don't have day-to-day interaction with them. So to stay top of mind, you have to be posting, giving recommendations, and doing all of those things. That means that you will need to post things that are valuable to your followers. So don't just post anything, right? Stay on brand. What is going to be important to them that's going to inspire them, entertain them, inform your audience in some way that adds value to them? So whether it's an article you're sharing, talk about why they should read it. Talk about why it's valuable. Talk about the insights you found from the article. Maybe it's an article you wrote yourself. Maybe it's just a funny story or a clean joke that you're sharing. But why are you sharing it? Is it on brand with you? Does it continue to build who you are personally and what you're bringing to your clients and to your connections? So through your posting, right, when you think about us and the world that we live in with hospitality, right, we live in a fun world, right? And so our posts should inspire people to travel. They should inspire people to do meetings. They should inspire people to do events. They should inspire people to want to be a part of what we're doing. So show them what you've done with other clients. Show them what you're doing at your properties, what you're personally doing, even in the community and the world that you work in. That's going to show people that you're connected, that you have value, that you have something meaningful to say, and that you are somebody that they should know. So you can create your own original content, or you can share a lot of the content that's out there. There's a lot of great content out there. You don't always have to create new content yourself. Take it and put your spin on it. So your brand puts out a lot of great content, right? So whether it's through their Instagram, their Facebook, their LinkedIn, you can take that content, you can share it, but it's always best to copy it, paste it, make your own original post from what they've shared, and then add something to it. This is what's going to help you build that reputation of being knowledgeable. It also creates that algorithm where you're going to pop up more on people's feed than just sharing. Content marketing, and that's what we're talking about, right, is how you're creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to an audience, to a very clearly defined audience that's going to find that valuable. And that content marketing costs 62% less than traditional marketing and generates 3 times as many leads. So particularly for you in sales, we can't afford to not do this. We can't afford to not have a presence out there that's showing people what we can do. We can utilize other content from our customers, right? Get permission to share their experiences, share their posts with us. Use photos, use video, things that are attractive and stunning that show what we can do for our clients, that stay on brand for us. And when we're commenting, as I mentioned earlier, right? So when you're commenting on a post, always use 5 words or more, particularly on LinkedIn. That's going to drive that LinkedIn algorithm that's going to make you pop up on people's feeds more. So that goes back to not just sharing and liking, but actually commenting, excuse me, and commenting with 5 words or more, because that's going to generate that algorithm. Also use a lot of hashtags, right? That brings you into a whole nother conversation. So if I hashtag meetings, I hashtag events, I hashtag your destination, your city, whatever, it's going to expose you to people that you are not connected to. So now your post is going to be visible to non-followers who are following that hashtag, but not necessarily following you. So we can share tips on travel, on the industry. We can talk about how we're coming back online, you know, our response to guidelines, you know, that are coming and going and changing and shifting, and how people can make the most of traveling right now. We can put quotes that inspire. We can share news about what's happening in our industry, news about what's happening in our markets, promoting travel, promoting the destination, promoting meetings. all those things, and then some personal things too that we think are going to really show our clients who we are. So that's the content that we share that's important. But then again, we want to be consistent, right? Have a compelling profile. This is your storefront, right? We don't want to have empty shelves. So when people go to your storefront, when they go to your LinkedIn profile, they go to your Instagram, they want to see that you're engaged. If your last post was in August of 2020, they're going to very well move on to somebody else, right? So we want people to interact with us. So that means sometimes really getting the goal of posting once a day. Now that may be a lot for some of you. You're like, whoa, we can't do that. So just start with once a week if you're not doing it, or a couple times a week if you're have already gone once a week. Making sure that you're using great pictures, that you're really emphasizing quality over quantity. You want to be authentic in what you're posting. And again, know your audience. What does your audience want to see? What do they want to engage with, right? You're going to be able to gauge that by the comments you get, by the likes you get, by the shares you get. So when you start to get, good responses, then that's what your audience wants to see more of. And that's just going to help them continue to resonate with your brand. So don't get stale, be creative, making sure that we're turning those followers into customers and looking for ways to be more revolutionary. So we've talked about using existing content. We've talked about different ideas that you have. Create some original content as well. Write a blog post about your own personal experiences or expertise or advice that you have for planners, advice that you have for traveling to your destination, advice that you have for how they can navigate the pandemic and come back and have great meetings better than ever, and all the things that we can do to make that great. Have a little travel tip or other types of tips that we do. We have a travel tip Tuesday that Cindy does through MCA marketing. And so that generates a lot of followers that people want to see and want to be a part of that. And then use video. Video is very compelling, particularly in that ultra high net worth, all those millennials that are looking for a certain lifestyle. They're looking for certain experiences, those Instagrammable experiences. Videos are very compelling, right? We always have our smartphone with us. So record a quick video to your clients or messages. It doesn't have to be perfectly curated. In fact, what we call those ugly videos get more traction and more likes and more shares and more interest, the ones we create ourselves, than anything our marketing departments are putting out. And this continues, of course, to validate what our brand is and what we're all about. So part of this is all about the planning, right? Your planning of your content and what you're going to share and put online. It can be as easy as an Excel spreadsheet that you keep, and you keep ideas and you say, on these 2 days, I'm going to post this. On this day, I'm going to post this, and just keep generating ideas. Or there are apps out there like Hootsuite, Planoly, Later that will really help you to actually plan out, schedule your posting. They even track your responses and things and give you some measurable statistics around how that is working. But bottom line, to really carve out this great social strategy, keep your social accounts relevant and up to date, post frequently, create content that is interesting to your audience, talk and share with them. So be part of the conversation. Don't just keep posting and promoting, but when you join groups, be part of that conversation, add value, add your comments, share your insights. That's what's going to make you valuable. And that's what's going to keep your brand voice consistent across all those channels. But bottom line, of course, to keep your content positive. We got to be present. We got to be everywhere. Don't let your competitors be seen or heard from more than you. Establish that presence online as a trusted advisor. There's no big secret to this. It just takes a lot of consistent hard work and planning and thoughtfulness in order to be successful. So as we wrap up, right, our personal brand helps us to focus on the things that really matter to us and to others, right? We are very busy in life. In our career world, it's very easy for us to get very distracted by the day-to-day crises that we have, and we sort of lose sight of the things that are most important to us. And so one of the best things about really defining your personal brand, even if you don't like promote it specifically, right, with your own website and all things, one of the best things is it helps us understand what's really important to me. It helps me really define who I am as a person, understand who I am, what I care about, understand my audience, what they care about, right? Try to add value instead of just adding to the noise, right? Get people to pay attention to you. Grab their attention because you have something valuable to offer, not because we're just trying to promote ourselves. So don't let those day-to-day fires prevent you from really creating and maintaining your personal brand, because you have a lot to share. And if your audience learns from you, a real person with real struggles and with real thoughts and real ideas, then that's what's going to make your personal brand even more memorable. And that's what's going to add a lot of value to the clients that you're trying to reach out to. So Albert Einstein once said, and I will leave you with this, that strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. And I think our ability to really define our personal brand, that we are able to transform the way we talk about what we do, the way we're able to show people the unique value that we bring, is not self-promotion, but rather when we back it up with real experiences and real expertise, we will add value, I think, to the world that we live in and to the specific clients that we are trying to attract. So thank you so much for your time. I know we're right at the end, but I'm certainly available at this point. If you have any questions, if you want to stay on a minute or two, any specific questions that people have about this great topic that we've explored today. No? All right, then, as Kate mentioned, we will be sending out the recording, so you'll have that available to you. Of course, that'll have the slides as part of that recording. And as a reminder, she mentioned it too, but the next session is on February 17th using the iPlatform to cross-sell. You can go on to iaconline.org to sign up for that event. We look forward to seeing you then. Other than that, thank you so much for your time today, and I wish you the best of luck as you embark on this great journey of defining and really maintaining and building your own personal brand. So take care, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.